So there's this group of people on the internet that I think are hilarious, and they're men's rights activists. They call themselves meninists. And my favorite thing about men's rights activists that call themselves meninists is that means that they think the opposite of feminine is meninin. It's a whole movement that's never heard the word masculine before. So I don't like the cutesy gendered images they put on bathroom doors sometimes. And it's not because of how woke I am, it's just because now they're not that common anymore, so sometimes I'm just too stupid to figure it out. Like I was at a brewery in Illinois, and one door had a picture of a cat on it. And so I stared at it. And I thought, cat can be boy. I look at the other one, it was a rooster, and I was like, urinals are in that one, okay. Then a minute later, I was finished up peeing, and I thought to myself, oh, cock and pussy, that took way too long. 5 years ago, I'd have been a worse person. Probably thought it was funny, would have gotten it immediately. Now I'm like, which animals pee standing up? I don't know. I was at a different brewery in Indiana, and one door said stouts, and the other door said blondes. 2 types of beer. And I looked at stouts, and my only thought was, she got some stout-ass titties. As we would all think. And then they were both one-person bathrooms, so I guess anyone can drink any beer. Speaking of bathrooms, I was hosting a show at a comedy club, and I got off stage and I went to use the bathroom. And a couple minutes, an audience member came in and he tried to open the stall door. He said, oops, didn't realize anyone was in there. By the way, good set tonight. Did he just look at me through the crack and then tell me he did it? Because I'm not pooping at this comedy club anymore. I was like, thanks, I guess. He goes, yeah, there were some winners and some losers. I don't see Peeping Tom guy, he's also a backhanded compliment guy. So a few minutes later, we're both washing our hands at the same time. He turns to me and goes, so you comedians, do you guys like to do hard drugs? I was like, what is happening? He goes, oh, it's just that back in my day, comics like Sam Kinison were all doing heroin and killing themselves. Why don't you guys do that anymore? I was like, kill ourselves? We do sometimes. Read the news. When I realized he was the guy that was sitting in the front row and he was vaping so much, I felt like an NBA player being introduced. And it was banana flavored. Ugh. It's the grossest detail you're going to hear tonight, and I might do a pedophile joke later. I don't know. So, I grew up Catholic, and one cool thing about Catholicism is more than other types of Christianity, it's like a book club. Because none of us actually read the Bible, we still showed up for wine and snacks. I was a cafeteria Catholic, that's what I called myself. Someone's laughing, you know what that is. That's a term they use to describe the people that don't believe everything, but instead, I guess, think about it for a second. You just pick the things that aren't stupid and believe those. Like I learned about heaven. I was like, that's cool, I'm gonna go there. I believe in that. Then I learned about hell, and I was like, boo, disagree. Not real. I don't believe that one. And then I learned about the priest-child sex abuse scandal, and I was like, well, I do believe that, so I guess we're done here. My mom's still involved in the church, and so she was asking me if I could think of any things they could do to get more younger adults like me to come back to Mass. I was like, I don't know, just make it more fun, right? And the priest would be like, Eat this bread, for it's my body. Drink this wine, for it's my blood. Close your eyes and touch this cold spaghetti, for it's my brains. Feel these grapes, it's my bowl of eyeballs. Here, Jesus' Mystery Castle. Or just let us throw eggs at the pro-life people. That'd be fun, right? There's a pro-life group at my mom's parish that, against what the bishop said to do in both cases, protested against the vaccine and campaigned against Medicaid advancement or expansion. And for both of those, the only reason I think why they do that is if they're like, well, if people die sooner, they have fewer abortions. So I guess my point is that the priest says we can key those people's cars. I'll come back to Mass. Speaking of abortion, there's this billboard somewhere between here and Kansas City that all it says is pregnancy is not the end. It's only the beginning. Yeah, that's what we're worried about. That's why people want an abortion. They're not like, well, this is inconveniencing my day. Let's get it over. Go to Planned Parenthood. No. Also, it doesn't say it gets better. It just says it's going to be a long ride. So that's like if you try to convince your friend to watch a Netflix show and they watched 2 episodes, they're like, this sucks. And you're like, nuh-uh. There's 10 whole seasons. Does it pick up in season 2? No comment. Watch it, bitch. So every time the crime statistics come out in St. Louis, all the people from the police union, all these people that support the police get on Twitter and they're like, look at this. Look at all these unsolved murders. Look at all this violence. Huh? Get rid of the cops. Who's going to solve all these unsolved murders? Who's going to stop all this violence? And every time I'm like, probably say nobody that's doing it now. Law enforcement is weird because it's the only profession where the argument to make more money is, look how bad we are at our jobs. That's like if your boss was trying to fire you and in the meeting you were like, yeah, but what if the guy that replaces me takes a dump in the break room 2 times? Like, goddamn, can't beat that logic. Gotta give me another 10% raise. Cut more necessary services. Can you at least not murder anybody? No promises. Can you at least not shoot, tase, or beat up a fellow police officer? This is St. Louis, baby. It's real stupid here. That's gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen. What? Yeah. I'm starting to feel like I ate some spicy food. So I was doing some shows down in Arkansas recently for like half a week, and I was looking up cheap hotels, and one of them had a bunch of 1-star reviews from that week about an ant infestation. And I was like, okay, but these are all on the same day. That's kind of suspicious, right? Is this like another hotel pranking them or something? And then I found a 4-star review out of 5 that said, had a pretty good trip, though there were a lot of ants. Front desk gave me a spray, sprayed it all over the room. Smelled real bad, kinda helped. 4 stars. It's like, thanks, Mr. Easy to Please, definitely not staying in this hotel. How do you get a negative review out of that guy? Like, what does it take? Had a fun time the first couple days, then the hotel burned to the ground. They're telling me it was insured. I'll get my money back someday. 3 stars. Had a fun little jaunt down to Northwest Arkansas. It was going all right till the concierge murdered my son. The rest of the staff was very understanding. Got some free parking. 2.5 stars. I don't know how, but the hotel caused the earth to crash into the sun. I don't know how I'm giving this review, or who is going to read it, because we're all dead. 4 stars. I still don't know how many stars to say for that last punchline. Because any amount I've said has worked, so. When I was in high school, one of my friends got a job at a movie theater. He was telling me about things he learned about people that go to movie theaters. And he said, "Oh, I learned a new stereotype. The only people that buy nachos at the movie theater are always black." It's like, that's weird. And that made me uncomfortable because it's a stereotype. But then every white person I told that to said, "Wait, they have nachos at the movie theater?" So I guess it's true, but it's not black people's fault. Everybody likes nachos, they're just the only ones that read the menu. That joke's technically critical race theory. I tell that at a school, I'll be arrested. Got a lot of jokes I can't tell at school, probably. So here's something most people don't agree with. I think it's dumb when people harp on the fact that Christopher Columbus didn't really discover America. Who's with me? Probably nobody. Where it's like, he didn't discover America. Vikings got here first. And there were already people there. Nah. But that's not necessarily how words work, okay? If you said to your friends, "I went for a walk in my neighborhood, discovered 2 restaurants. I didn't know were there." They're not going to be like, "You didn't discover those restaurants." Who do you think works there, huh? "Oh, what'd you build that building? Colonizer." Also, there's more than enough things to complain about Christopher Columbus without this one, okay? You got mass rape, genocide, enslaving people, mass murder, and then people are like, "And he didn't discover America." Who cares? Neither did you. It's like if you were like, "Did you know the BTK killer also had expired tags?" Jeffrey Epstein didn't pay his taxes sometimes. Oh my God. Oh wow. You know the guy Adolf Hitler? You know what he did? Didn't even discover America. So fuck him, right? Here's another thing most people don't agree with. This is the part of my set where I'm like, "I dare you not to like me anymore." I think it's dumb that firefighters have American flags in their uniforms. Who's with me? Probably even less people this time. But the thing is, it's like, we're in Missouri. What else country are you gonna be from? Right? It's like, "Oh my God, my house burned down. What happened? I tried to flag down a firefighter. Turns out it was a Canadian Mountie." And I'm not talking shit on firefighters. It's already like a cool, important job. Why you also gotta pretend you're in the army? Right? You don't work for America. You work for Special Tax District 23, Emergency Services, serving fentanyl in parts of unincorporated St. Louis County. Put that in your shirt, right? And I know what some people are thinking. They're like, "Oh, this audience members are yelling this up for. What about 9/11? Yeah, what about 9/11? You know? I know. Wait, That's not the right response. Hold on. I didn't write that long. I just said it. And then I heard myself and I was like, this is unlikable. Okay, it's sad. A lot of firefighters died in 9/11. Guess what? A lot more finance guys died in 9/11 than firefighters. We never talk about them. Is it because they're evil? They were the target of the attack. Never come up in conversation. But also, I've never heard about a finance guy ironing a passenger Brooks Brothers suit. Get up for my bro, he was doing spreadsheets that day. So I told that joke in Waterloo, Illinois. Which is named for the site where Napoleon was defeated by the armies of Europe. Where I was defeated by a 95% Republican elderly audience. Who hated this joke in particular. A lady literally yelled out, "Next!" And I was like, what, do you guys have a flag patch factory in town? And then they all applauded. I don't think they actually have a factory in town. I think it's just because I said flag in a positive tone of voice. Sometimes with Republicans, that's all it takes. So don't watch Fox News, it'll melt your brain. So people say, wait, hold on, I need to do the right order. I'm gonna tell a different joke, then I'll come back to that. I made some changes. Oh, this one's gross. There's two types of toilets, okay? We all know this, right? There's the circle toilets, which are, no, hold on. There's the oval toilets, which are like normal, fine, you live your life with dignity while you poop, right? And then there's the small circle toilets, which, say it with me, men, your dick touches the underside of the seat whenever you sit down. 100% true. My favorite thing about telling this joke is when there's a couple sitting together, and then they lean in, and then he nods, and then she looks horrified. So my point is, ladies, if you go home with a man and he has a circle toilet in his apartment, please don't put that dick in your mouth. I want to say you don't know where it's been. You know where it's probably been. Like if you go to a restaurant and they're supposed to have really good steak, but the menu has little asterisks and you look and it's like, might have touched the toilet. Don't order that, okay? You don't just hope it took a shower. You just don't order that. This joke is just a PSA. Looking out for you. That stands for penis sanitation advice. I did a show once and a group of women came up to me after the show and showed me that they had all texted their fiancés and boyfriends who had all said some version of, "Unfortunately, yes." And they were like, well, we talked about it, and like, there are those toilets that are real small and you can't wipe without like your hand really touching the front of it. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're like, that's not that bad. And I was like, it's way different for you, okay? Because it's not strange to walk into the bathroom and see someone washing their hands in the sink. I'm not gonna straddle the sink, lather up. I'm trying to stick my dick into a Dyson Airblade. Sounds like I might get injured. It's really isn't as spicy as I thought it'd be. I mean, it tastes like a jalapeno, but I guess my tolerance has gone up since the last time I ate a whole jalapeno. I don't know. Do you guys know who Batman is? It's like a comic book thing. It's some nerd shit. You probably never heard of it. But they call him the Dark Knight. They call him the Caped Crusader. They also call him the world's greatest detective. Some of you are probably thinking, isn't that Sherlock Holmes? Yeah. The Batman writers just kind of stole that one. But here's the thing about him being a detective. I don't think he's that good. Because if you think about it, none of the bad guys in Batman are difficult to detect. Like, what detective work are you doing, dude? You live in a city where sometimes a clown hijacks all the airwaves to say, I am the one that did it. Like, none of them are being subtle. Like, there's this guy called Twoface. You probably never heard of him. The thing about Twoface, he goes and he robs a bank or whatever. Very memorable face. Why you need a good detective? You're going to accidentally arrest the guy that burned the top half of his face? Top of that, in addition to, even more than, he bought 2 different colored suits, cut them in half, sewed them back together, and then wears that to do crime. Also, if you were to see him and you don't know his name, you describe him, that's his name. On top of all that, he is a recently, very publicly disgraced public figure. It was in the news. Imagine you were at the bank. No, hold on, let me backtrack. Imagine Rudy Giuliani burned half of his face. You're at the bank and Rudy Giuliani shows up to rob that bank. You'd be like, well, we all know who this guy is. Until the cops, they're still like, are you sure it wasn't a black guy? So that's Two-Face, that's just one guy. What about the Riddler? What's his superpower? He feels compelled to leave additional evidence at the scene of the crime. That's his whole thing. There's a villain in Gotham called Regular Looking Steve who tries not to get caught. Batman would show up and be like, oh no. What do I do? Did you find any playing cards with a picture of the Joker? Because then I know who did it. No? Well, did the culprit resemble a penguin? No? It's a regular dude? God, I hate when it's a regular dude. So much easier when it's a crocodile, man. Nobody was frozen or died of a poison kiss. Look over there, he just dives out the window. Also in that one movie, it took Batman 2 hours to figure out that Bane's weakness is being punched in his breathing mask. Real great detective work. How much time do I have no idea. Just keep going until they stop laughing?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. What?
Oh, cool. I'll just keep going until they stop laughing. So I watch porn sometimes. Yeah, so do you. Who cares? But I saw this, I almost said headline. One had a title recently that was something like, it was like 2 hot coworkers have steamy sex while on the clock, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's always what happens. They're always coworkers. They work for the porn company. They usually have sex. I like to hope it's on the clock, otherwise this is break room harassment. Like, that title didn't tell me anything. And it really should have been called Business Casual Couple Fucks on the Desk. That's obviously what it was, right? And when I was younger, I'd have been like, ooh, that's hot. But now in my 30s, I'm like, her back's gonna hurt tomorrow. Because I want everyone to have a good time, you know, in real life and fantasy world, I guess. And there's not a lot of that in porn, where they both seem to be having a good time. Like, I wish, like, most of the, like, coworker ones, it's like, boss punishes secretary. I'm like, that's sad, don't do that. Do something positive, like, two coworkers that seem to like each other fuck in the break room while unionizing their workplace. People keep joining the gangbang until they have enough votes for collective bargaining around here. It's like a modern day Newsies. But no, there's not a lot of that happy, like there's a lot of, and John talked about this earlier, but no matter what I search for, more than half of the videos, and I've never searched for this, I always use incognito mode. That means somebody wants it, it's probably you perverts. Where it's like stepbrother and stepsister, and they call each other brother and sister. It's like incest. Like, why you gotta make porn more taboo? They're already having sex, right? I also gotta pretend they're doing a crime. And incest is like the least appetizing crime to think about. Do a cool crime. Do like larceny. Then I'll finally know what larceny is. I mean, the coworkers are at least doing time theft. That's a cool crime. If you don't commit time theft, hey, start living your life. Start shitting at work. Stop licking boots, okay? But sometimes I look at the incest sounded ones and I think, look at the thumbnail, I think, well, she is really hot. I am going to click on that. But I'm like, okay, Jeremy, remember, they're not really related. They're just two co-workers completing an assignment together. Then they start having sex. She inevitably says something like, fuck me, brother. Okay, Jeremy, remember, she's just doing a Hulk Hogan impression. Oh, she doesn't say the N-word. I love when the whole audience remembers who's racist. But then there's other types that I like even less. Yeah, this is a really long joke. Whatever, who cares? And I call them like abusive power situations. And they're real bad. Like, I think it grows out of the archetype of like, woman doesn't have cash to pay for pizza, so then he sticks his Italian sausage in her cheesy garlic bread. I don't know. That one's gross, but I can't think of a better way to do it. But like they're real gross. It's like woman sucks off landlord, like tenant sucks off landlord that she couldn't afford to pay. And you're like, no, that's terrible. Like woman blows cop to get out a ticket. It's like, no, I don't want to see any of this. Are people just going to Pornhub and typing in, I want to feel sad about capitalism? But I feel like this is just going to get worse, you know? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this, like, teacher sucks off school shooter to save the kids. I was halfway through that sentence and I remember what happened last week and I was like, oh shit. I'm not saying I want that to exist, it just probably does. Where it's like, Exxon CEO fucks the environment. I click on that, I don't know what that means. I'm intrigued. It's a guy in a suit and a woman in a globe costume. They fuck on a desk, but then they roll off and where it's his bag. We finally won, guys. Hey, my name's Jeremy, you guys have been fun.